Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Blue Couch series. Those of you who already watched episode 1, 2, 3, by the way, they are all available on our website. Those of you know, here you will always find the latest information from the Sappi world and of course of the paper industry. Therefore, we always invite exciting guests, and today I'm very happy to welcome the new CEO of Sappi Europe, Marco Eikelenboom. We are talking now about challenges in the paper industry as well as the latest strategy news of Sappi and of course about the CEO himself. So welcome Marco Eikelenboom. Thank you for being our guest today.
Very pleased to be here.
And let me ask first of all, congratulations for taking over the CEO position of Sappi Europe. Is that something you thought of when joining Sappi?
Well, that would probably be a big word, but it has intrigued me, Marcus. I think I've started as a management trainee at a company called KMPBT, one of the predecessors of Sappi. And as a management trainee, you get in touch with the leadership team rather quickly. And you get acquainted with the CEOs, and I must say in that period of time, I got acquainted with a lot of moving CEOs, incoming, outgoing, in a rather short period of time. And that intrigued me. I know that a lot depends on strategic moves that are taken at a certain point in time, that some choices can be rather unfortunate, that sometimes capabilities are being overestimated. But I have thought at that time, how would I do in such a position and what would my profile be? I never found the answer until today, and I can tell you it is a very exciting job.
Okay, and of course, I mean, you thought of. We would like to get to know you a little bit better. So, I mean, you look like you had always been a CEO. So where have you been the last years? Yes. What have you done before?
Certainly not being CEO before. So I'm still in probably my honeymoon first couple of weeks. Although they're very short, these honeymoons. Reality knocks on the door very quickly. But as I said, I started as a management trainee at one of the predecessors of Sappi called KMPBT. That company merged with an Austrian company called Lycam and became KMP Lycam. And I got the chance to go to Paris as a sales director after my traineeship and try to do the real job in the real world. With a lot of enthusiasm. It was a very, very nice time living in Paris with my fiancée at that time, now my wife. And after that, after 3 years, Sappi knocked on the door and acquired KMP Lycam from the company then still called KMPBT. And it was end 97 when I was asked to come to the new head office, which was in Brussels, and join the team which were working on the post-merger integration. So the integration of KMP Lycam into the new Sappi Europe. And I did that as the manager corporate planning. After that, I became the managing director of Sappi Benelux in Lanaken, where also one of our mills is. Did that for 4 years. Was then asked to join the head office in South Africa, in Johannesburg, the global head office, as the marketing director for Sappi South Africa Fine Paper division. And then some kind of musical chair took place, and I was asked to go back to Europe a little bit earlier than expected. Also, we had a great time there. I must say it was also a little bit earlier than we all wanted, but when the opportunity comes, then you take it on, and the opportunity was the position of sales and marketing director for Sappi Europe, for the graphics business, which was a big step. I enjoyed it very much. We had a second big step in 2008 when Sappi Europe acquired the graphic division of Embryo Graphics. And that was actually another DNA change because a lot of new and fresh insights came from the company Embryo. It was a rather smooth integration of these two profiles And ultimately, it became a spectacular company, very successful. So I was then the vice president of marketing and sales for the graphics division until end of last year when I was appointed CEO of Sappi Europe after Barry left quite recently for his retirement.
So we arrived very quickly in the present.
Yeah.
And there is something we never thought of, that we are still in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And can you tell us something about how did Sappi or how is it still dealing with this situation?
Yeah, it's a game changer, quite definitely. And nobody could have foreseen the impact of this pandemic on personal lives and on business environment. First and foremost, we take care of the well-being and the safety of our employees, and that was our first concern. We have 2 mills in Italy, and as you might remember, the European pandemic started in Italy, Bergamo, northern part of Italy, where our 2 mills are. And it was a big challenge, but an enormous achievement that despite the pandemic and the infections, we could continue running the mills. So it was an enormous effort that the mill management teams made, but they got it done. And the operations from there have been running. It was our second concern, of course, that the operations could continue and that we could serve our customers with our products, because we've seen that some products were really hard hit, particularly the graphic products, but some others did pretty well despite the pandemic, and that was the packaging grades and the specialty papers. And it was our concern as well and our task to keep in touch with our customers very much. We did that online. We even did fairs and exhibitions online. Interpack was done online. And in that sense, we kept the contact with our customers. And that was, for us, it was a reassurance, but I think as well for our customers, because everybody lived in very uncertain times in these days.
That's your answer was quite a part of one question I have personally, because I asked myself, what does it mean to take over such a position as a CEO in these very difficult times? So.
Yeah, you need to rethink and reconsider some of the assumptions that you've taken for granted. A market dynamic, the way customers behave, the way our products serve a certain need, that all changed. And as I said, particularly the graphics products have had a huge impact, and at one point in time dropped by 35%, the market volume, the demand. So that was very difficult. Customers started to change their behavior slightly, and we are now in a phase of recovery, and we see that fortunately there has been some structural damage, but markets are coming back, and customers have very much appreciated the fact that we together, the entire supply chain, the entire value chain, have kept up the business. What we're facing right now is other problems, and once you get to a new reality, you get to new problems as well. It's now all around the super cycle, super commodity cycle that is hitting us. Be it pulp, be it energy, everything is waiting for the economy, it seems, to restart, and therefore these prices go up. Our prices need to go up to keep our margins somewhat healthy. And we have serious logistic bottlenecks because ships and containers seem to be permanently in the wrong side of the world. And we have had huge challenges and still haven't overcome all the challenges to get enough container capacity allocated to us to serve all our customers. So it will still take a while. It has to do with the fact that the economy is restarting, that basically everything starts to be switched on at the same time, and that you need to be careful with the capacity available.
So let's keep all this in mind and combine it with an outlook on your strategy. Sappi called out the Thrive 25 business strategy. You have to explain it to me and to our audience. What is it all about?
Yeah, and I'm very glad to explain because it's an exciting journey we are embarking on from a global Sappi Limited perspective. Thrive 25 is basically the evolution from the previous strategic vision we had, which is called 2020 Vision. This is the view on the next 5 years, and it is the view under the circumstances that we know right now. So basically, first thing first, we need to restore the balance sheet. We need to create a very robust foundation to create a platform for growth. And as I just explained, the dynamics in our two different product groups, graphics and specialty and packaging, has been rather different over the last 12 months. So that will affect ultimately the strategy for the next 5 years as well. And the focus from that robust financial fundament will be on growing the packaging and specialty grades even further than what we've done so far.
So, as CEO, you're working on the Sappi Europe strategy. Is there something you can tell us about, or is it top secret?
It is not necessarily top secret, but it is the beginning of a journey. So I can broadly give you the direction, but I can't go in too much detail because a lot of assumptions are still in the air. What I can tell you is that the new lead team has embarked on this journey and this new strategic review for Sappi Europe with an enormous amount of energy. Everybody feels that something needs to happen, which is not a bad thing. As a starting CEO, you have a certain situation that calls for action, and that I wouldn't call it immediately a burning platform, but it is very clear that we can't continue the way we did because the market has changed so dramatically, and because the reality after the COVID pandemic will most definitely be different than before. So, taking that into account, what I can tell you is that obviously we're looking at the market dynamics, the growth rates, and as I told you, we will focus more on growing markets in the packaging and specialty areas. But we're also taking into account customer behavior that has changed due to the pandemic. The whole phenomenon of online shopping, people have been much more selective in that sense. That might stay. Nobody really knows. The shops will open gradually, but it might be so that the online shopping will stay, which has a different trend, causes a different trend, and will create a different dynamic in the market. So all these things will be taken into account with only one objective, and that is to make Sappi a resilient company under all circumstances that can basically grow and thrive on whatever part of the cycle we are in. And that is the aim I have as a CEO, but fortunately not alone. I've got a very strong management team, a lead team that is energized and that is looking forward to the next 5 years.
And are there any plans regarding the organization of the company and that affects your customers also?
Yeah, I think as a consequence of the new reality, as a consequence of a strategy that is changing towards the next 5 years, also an organization is like a living organism. It evolves and it adapts itself to requirements. It also adapts itself to customer needs. And I think, as I just explained, that the customer needs have dramatically changed and may stay that way, and that is certainly has been a guidance or a guideline for ourselves to think about a new way of serving these customers. And what we've tried to do is basically look at the organization with an end-to-end process in mind. So we want to create a customer experience that takes every single step into account, but at the same time doesn't create any complexity for a customer to deal with Sappi. So it takes out, and that's what we have tried to do over the last couple of months, taking out unnecessary interfaces or simplifying to that extent some of the touch points with the customer. And secondly, what we've tried to do is to create a one Sappi organization where there are not different silos, but everybody works from one platform, be it marketing intelligence, product allocation, product group management. Everybody works from one single platform. So we internally call that the One Sappi philosophy. And that is basically creating a dynamic where you can make use of joint firepower. You can take the best elements of the different units that we previously have, bring them together, form one platform, and serve the customer to his better needs.
Oh. Interesting. So, let's say perhaps we live in critical times. Let's say it like this. But let's dare the big view. I mean, like we were earlier today, we were on the rooftop and having the landscape around. So if we dare the big view, what do you think will be the biggest challenges for Sappi within the next years or decades? Are there any challenges where you say they are extraordinary?
I think in general, an organization needs to be able to adapt itself rather quickly to its environment. And the last 12 to 18 months have been proof of a dramatically changing environment. And only companies who are able to do that will ultimately survive. But there's one overriding challenge that not only Sappi, but the industry and all of us, as a matter of fact, have, and that is climate change. We are fortunate that we have a company that is based on wood fiber resources. It's a renewable source. It's recyclable. It's part of the circular economy. And I think that will help us in coping with some of the challenges that climate change will bring to us. It will not go automatically. It's not a matter of talking even more about the effects of climate change or the consequences of that, but it goes with very serious investments. And that is what we need to take into account. On the one hand, we will need to define a new strategic direction, which we are very well aware of now. But at the same time, that needs to be combined with serious investments into decarbonization. Ultimately, the aim is to have a first step ready by 2030, but to be carbon neutral by 2050. And that sounds like pretty far out. It's not. You need to act right now, today, to be ready for these challenges. And the requirements coming out of all kind of stakeholders, be it governments, NGOs, but also our customers, of course, need to be taken into account in that strategy.
Mm-hmm. So when I think of brand owners, for example, they are all working to become a bit more sustainable, just to offer more green products also. What would you say, how important is sustainability for you?
Yeah, following my answer, it is important for all of us, but business and companies have a certain obligation to take it on board and make it an integral part of their strategy. And that's why there's only one answer to that. It is extremely important to me and to us as a company. We are being confronted, and I'm saying confronted in a positive way, with new targets, but also with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are there for a reason. They're there to make us as a company, but every individual, aware of the actions that need to be taken. So that is fully integrated in the strategy, the long-term strategy that not only Sappi Europe, but also the group Sappi Limited has on sustainability. Again, we're a company that is based on a renewable source. It's recyclable. It is part of the circular economy, and it will provide solutions to our customers to ultimately have a sustainable value chain. Sappi and its partners up to the brand owner. And the interesting thing is that brand owners are, I would say, not only aware, but they are incredibly proactive to look for new alternatives. And a co-creation is the way forward. A co-created solution to the demands on sustainability is the only way forward. Sappi will not always be able to do it on its own, probably in most cases not able to do it on its own. We need to ally and we need to find partners in this process of co-creation. The other probably answer to your question is that I, in the new organization, and now combining your other question, I've decided to have the sustainability department reporting directly into me, to keep me very closely informed about the trends, but also to integrate the consequences of our sustainability strategy in the business decisions I have to make on a daily basis.
So, thank you, Marco Eikelenboom.
Most welcome.
Thank you for being so open. Thank you for sharing these interesting insights with us today here on the sofa. And I wish you all the best and much success in managing Sappi Europe.
Thank you very much.
And I say thank you for watching today. I hope you will be back next time. I hope you enjoyed it a bit here on the couch.
It was very pleasant. It's a very nice way of sharing some thoughts, and I thank you very much for having me as a guest and for giving me this opportunity.
You're very welcome. So stay tuned until the next time. We wish you a good time and we say goodbye.